Hello everyone, welcome back. In our today's video lecture, we are going to be discussing about the next endocrine gland, which is the pancreas. Okay, so pancreas is it's when we talk about the structure of the pancreas, it's going to look something like a leaf. When we take a look at the structure of the pancreas, it looks somewhat like this. Okay, so it looks elongated and it is a yellowish gland, and this pancreas is going to be located in between the stomach and the duodenum. So when we talk about pancreas, pancreas is both endocrine as well as exocrine in function. Okay, so the exocrine part of the pancreas are going to be producing the enzymes which are needed for the digestion of food. Okay, so the exocrine pancreas produces the enzymes, but then the endocrine part of the pancreas are going to be producing the hormones. So now we are actually going to discuss about the endocrine aspect of the pancreas only and not the exocrine. Okay, so now the endocrine pancreas, what are the cells which are there and what are the hormones which are present? Let's discuss. So the endocrine part of the pancreas consists of cells which are known as islets of Langerhans. So these islets of Langerhans are going to be the cells which are going to be producing the hormones, or in other words, the islets of Langerhans are the endocrine part of the pancreas. Okay, so these islets of Langerhans consist of two different types of cells. So one is the alpha cells and the other one is the beta cells. So the alpha cells of the islets of Langerhans are going to be producing the hormone glucagon, and the beta cells are going to be producing the hormone insulin. So what is the work of both of these hormones? Both of these hormones are going to be maintaining the blood glucose level. Okay, so both glucagon as well as insulin will maintain the blood glucose level, or it will maintain the blood sugar level. Okay, so now let's see what is the function of insulin and what is the role of glucagon separately. So now let's take a look at insulin. So let's understand what is the role of insulin. So now you have had your lunch. So after your lunch, what happens? The process of digestion will begin. And for lunch, mostly we consume rice. Okay, so it could be anything. But we will have carbohydrates in our diet, right? So when you are consuming carbohydrate, at the end of digestion, the carbohydrates are going to be converted into what? They will be getting converted into glucose. Okay, so only some amount of glucose which is getting released after digestion will be utilized by our body. So we don't have to use all the glucose as the energy. Only some amount of glucose is going to be converted into energy for us to use it. So what is going to happen to this rest of the glucose which was released after digestion? So this glucose will be circulating in the blood. So when these glucose are circulating, that is the digested glucose which is circulating in the blood, what will happen is it will be picked up by insulin. So the insulin will pick up the excess glucose which is circulating in our blood, and then it will take it to the liver. So this excess glucose which is circulating in our body after the process of digestion will be picked up by insulin, and it will go and store it in the liver. Okay, so it is going to, the glucose molecule is going to get stored in the form of glycogen in the liver. So glucose is going to get stored in the form of glycogen in the liver. This glycogen is a polysaccharide. Okay, so just imagine insulin is picking up one molecule of glucose and taking it. So similarly, it is going to take many molecules of glucose and store it in the liver. So these many molecules of glucose will join together, it will combine together in order to form the glycogen, which is a polysaccharide. So I hope you know what is the meaning of polysaccharide. Polysaccharides are many molecules of glucose combining to form what is known as the polysaccharide. Okay, so the liver will be storing glucose in the form of glycogen, and who is going to bring this excess glucose into the liver? It is the insulin. Is that clear? So this is the main work of insulin. So insulin usually reduces the blood glucose level. So insulin reduces the blood glucose level. Okay. So this is about insulin. Now let's move on to discuss about glucagon. So now let's discuss about what is the function of glucagon. Glucagon are produced by the alpha cells of the pancreas or alpha cells of the islets of Langerhans, and this glucagon, what it does is during starvation. So what is the meaning of starvation? When a person is not consuming food. So when a person is starving, during that situation, glucagon will help in conversion of glycogen into glucose. Okay, so where was this glycogen stored? This glycogen was stored in the liver, right? So whenever a person is starving, for example, if you have not consumed your breakfast or if you have not consumed your lunch, still nothing will happen to you. I mean for a day. Okay, for a day if you are not consuming your breakfast or your lunch, nothing is going to happen to you. You are going to be normal. You are going to do all the activities normally. How are you able to without eating, how are you able to do all your activities normally? Because we already have stored glucose in our liver. Okay, so whatever food you are consuming all these days are going and getting stored in the liver with the help of the insulin. And during starvation, when you are not getting food, during that time, this glycogen, okay, so this glycogen will get converted into glucose with the help of the hormone glucagon. Okay, so whenever there is a need, this will be broken down. This glycogen will be broken down in order to release glucose. So the glucagon will increase the blood sugar level. So both these hormones are very important in order to maintain a proper blood glucose level. Okay, but then sometimes due to some reasons, what would happen is there would be deficiency of insulin hormone. Okay, so there could be deficiency of insulin hormone. Okay, maybe the insulin hormone is not produced by the beta cells properly, or else the receptors which are present in the liver are not able to respond to the insulin. So there are many reasons, we will discuss about that little later. But then for now you understand that decrease in the level of insulin will lead to what is known as diabetes mellitus. Here very important, you are not supposed to get confused with diabetes insipidus and diabetes mellitus. Diabetes insipidus is caused due to deficiency of which hormone? Vasopressin or antidiuretic hormone. That is different. Okay, and deficiency or lack of insulin will lead to a condition which is known as diabetes mellitus. So what happens in diabetes mellitus? So we already discussed that the work of insulin is to pick up all the glucose and store it in the liver. So when this insulin is not there, the excess glucose which is getting released into the bloodstream after digestion will not be picked up. Okay, so when insulin is not there, the process by which the glucose is going to go and get stored in the liver will not happen. So is it dangerous? Is it harmful? Yes, undoubtedly it is harmful, because the blood sugar level, what happens is it will be always high in the blood. The level of glucose will be high in the blood, because usually insulin will pick up the glucose from the blood. But now there is no insulin to pick up the glucose. So automatically all the glucose which is getting, all the carbohydrates which are getting digested will go into the bloodstream and it will remain there itself. Okay, so Lack of insulin will lead to increase in blood glucose level. So this is known as hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia is more amount of glucose in the bloodstream. Okay, so that is only known as hyperglycemia. So what is going to happen to this glucose which is circulating in the in the blood? At one point of time, the blood will reach the kidney for filtration so that urine is going to be eliminated. So at one point of time, what happens is the kidney will start to filter the urine as well and send it out of the body. So the person who is suffering from diabetes mellitus will not have any reserve source of glucose inside their body. Instead, it will get eliminated in the form of urine. So people again who are suffering with diabetes mellitus will have increased urine output, and that condition is known as polyuria. This also we have already discussed. Okay, and then as they are eliminating a lot of urine, as people suffering with diabetes mellitus are eliminating a lot of urine, they will feel thirsty. They want to drink more of water. Their urge to drink more of water is high. So they will have increased thirst, and that condition is known as polydipsia. Okay, and as these people who are suffering with diabetes mellitus do not have any stored glucose in their body, in order to give them energy, in order to get instant source of energy, they will continuously eat. They will feel hungry often, and that situation where they overeat is known as polyphagia. So polyphagia, phagia means to eat. So the person will start over consuming food. And one thing I have forgotten to mention, one more, when I told about urine output, there I said that excess urine output is going to be there for people who are suffering with diabetes mellitus, and that's called as polyuria. And people who are suffering with diabetes mellitus, along with the urine, more amount of glucose is also going to be getting eliminated, and that term where more amount of glucose is going to get eliminated is known as glycosuria. So glycosuria is where more amount of glucose is going to get eliminated in the form of urine. Okay, and then the increased blood glucose level is known as hyperglycemia. So what if it gets decreased? It will be known as hypoglycemia. And the normal blood glucose level is 80 to 120 mg. Okay. So this is about pancreas. So I hope you understood the concept that we have discussed in today's video. Thank you so much for watching.